Hello again, my yarn friends. This is the Barefoot Ginger with all things crochet. Hello, how is everyone? Had a rough start to my week, so I thought I would work on a project. And I found this lovely ball. It's a single ball. I bought it because it is squishy and it's kind of this heather gray color and it's gorgeous. I only have one skein. I have tried in the past, I've got a little bit of glare on my, let's try that. I have tried in the past to order online with the same color, even the same dye lot, and it didn't work. I just finished a sweater. See, there's the, oh, heather gray. I didn't even look at that. I was working on a granny hexagon sweater I just finished, and I needed more yarn and I couldn't find it at any of my local big box stores, so I went directly to redheart.com, ordered 3 skeins, and when it came, it technically is the same color on the band and it technically is the same dye lot, but it's not the same color. It's close enough for this project that it would work, but I thought what I would do with this, and I was just going through all of my stuff, is do a scarf tutorial. So I've been reorganizing my craft room. We're getting ready to paint, bring in a different desk, take out the bed, and bring in a more user-friendly, like a little double sleeper sofa. So I'm trying to organize everything so that transition is as easy as possible. And I thought, well, I just did the tutorials where I was caking all those yarns, and that was a fun tutorial. I thought that would be a good stash buster. I could do a stash buster tutorial. And then as I was going through things, I saw this beautiful skein of yarn, and it has more than enough to do a scarf in the size I want. But this is going to be a second project because I have a story to tell. This here is the yarn that I am going to use. And here's the story. It's made by Premier. I don't know that they make it anymore. I got it on clearance. I think I got it at Joann. And it's beautiful. You can see all those different colors. And this is more, the green is more of a moss green. Anyway, you can see this is what I have left of this one. And I have this one. So here's the story about this yarn. I think I bought 5 of these. So this story goes as follows. I was a caregiver for a lady living in her own home. She had dementia, and my role was to do light housekeeping, run errands for her, go to the grocery store, fill up her car with gas, those kinds of things. She was a lovely lady. She was kind of a ball buster. She was this cute little Italian lady. I'm just going to pause for a minute and just talk a little bit about this yarn, even though I don't think it's available anymore. It might be. The color, there's 180 yards. The color is Lilac Ridge. The skein started with 180 yards. I think this is about half because you can see the difference. So this is 180 yards and this might be 90. So I have not quite 300, and I think it'll be enough because when I worked this up, it worked up pretty fast. I made her a lap quilt out of this, and it turned out really lovely. And my only request was I would like the lap quilt back as a memento after her passing. And she passed, and I don't have the lap quilt, and I'm okay with that. So this pattern that I'm doing is a simple 2-row repeat. It works up in multiples of 4. So I am going to just chain until I want it long enough, and then I'll show you how I do it if it's not an exact multiple of 4. So anyway, I'm just going to chain while I talk. So I made her, and I forgot that it's really splitty. Look at that. I do remember that this yarn was kind of splitty to work with. Anyway, so she passed, her daughter closed out her estate and moved. And I forgot about that lap blanket until I was going through my stash just now, trying to find something that I could use as a tutorial. And I came upon this yarn. And the tears started flowing for a minute when I remembered how precious it was for me to make this for Frances. And her daughter still has it. But I made the blanket for her daughter, who has moved out of state. She's moved across the country. So I don't know how long I want it. I don't want it super long. I want it to be a scarf that you can wrap around 6 inches. Let's do 6 inches. So I am going to make her a scarf. If there's enough, I'll also make a beanie. I don't think I'm going to have enough for both, but I'm going to make her a scarf. So follow along with me on this tutorial as I make a scarf for her daughter to go with the blanket I made for her mom. What do you guys think about that? I'm not trying to be super sentimental. Okay, so I am not going to worry about the chain count. And I'll tell you why. I learned a few tricks along the way. What the internet likes to call hacks. So, if you count by 4s, that's fine. Count by 4s. Knock yourself out. Sometimes I do. This one isn't as critical because here's the hack I learned. When I get to the end, if I have too many chains, I can just pick them out. And I'll do that at the very end. So you might see a couple extra chains left over if I didn't count enough. So this stitch is worked in, like I said, multiples of 4 and then plus 2. But I also don't do the chain 2 at the end. I just go right into it. So you can see the chain. So the chain is a bump. You can see it's a V. And then on the back is the bump. I like to work into the bump on the back because otherwise it tends to curl a little bit as you're crocheting with it. Oh, I'm also using a size J 10 millimeter. Is that a 10 millimeter? 6 millimeter. I'm so sorry. A J, a 10, or 6 millimeter is the hook I'm using. Okay, so I'm going to work into the back bump and see that back bump right there. I am going to be doing single crochet. So you just skip the first one. The one on your hook never counts. That's just the hook, the loop that is always there. It always stays. So the first one, and I'm just going to crochet, single crochet all the way down. And it can get kind of fiddly when you're starting in that back bump. But see, there's the back bump. And then just single crochet all the way down. You do not have to do this. You can add an extra row at the end if you want to. Ooh, and that was a double. See what happens when I get busy talking. So you're just going to put one single crochet in each of those chains we just made. This one I will want to keep track. So that's 3. Find the bump. Don't worry, it's going to look ugly. You don't care about that. Trust the process. This is super easy pattern. This is really fun for scarves because it's an easy pattern to learn on, and it's an easy pattern to just work up while you are unwinding from the end of the day, or if you need to get a quick gift. Okay, I am going to meet you at the end. Make sure that you count by 4s, and then I'll meet you back up toward the end of the chain. Okay, I've come to the end. and I haven't counted yet. That's what I have so far. But see those V's right there? That's the top of the chain. That's what's left over after you make any stitch, whether it's a half double, a double, a treble, you're always going to have that V. And so you're just going to count the V's. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. Okay, so I need 4 more. Let's see. Oh my goodness, you saw me do that. This is exactly 20 chains plus 1. So I made 21 chains without even thinking about it. So that's an exact multiple of 4. So I'm going to have 5 boxes, which I think will be perfect. So I'm just going to whip these last couple single crochets in, and then we will start the pattern. This is just the base row. So this is not part of the 2-row repeat. So please keep that in mind. This is just to give your scarf some stability on this edge. And this is honestly obnoxious. Okay, so there's the last one. I just did them off camera. I have another story to tell. If you hear a whooshing, it's because I have a fan on. My air conditioner died last week and it's hot in here. So I am not going to get it fixed because it needs to be replaced. So that's a whole nother conversation. Okay, so all I did was chain one. Now this is where the 2-row repeat begins. So just pull out a little bit of yarn, give yourself a little bit of lead because you don't want to be fussing with your yarn. Super easy. So that chain 1 that I just made is simply for height. So we are going to go right into it. I don't do chain 3 at the end. I just make the stitch. Sometimes I'll do a stacked single, but sometimes I just go right into it. So in this first one, we are going to do a single crochet. And then we're going to chain 3. 1, 2, 3, and then we are going to skip 3. So because it's a darker yarn, you might need to rely on that V. So you got to count 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and in the fourth, you're going to put another single. And this, I should have 5 of these little chain 1, or excuse me, single crochet, chain 3, single crochet. So you're gonna chain 3, skip 3, single crochet, chain 3, skip 3, single crochet. You're gonna do that all the way to the end. I'm gonna have 5. However many multiples you have, yours might be different than mine. You keep going. I will keep going myself off camera, and I will meet you back at the end. All right, how's everyone doing? I have 1, 2, 3, 4 of those little loops, and I am ready to make my last one. 1, 2, 3, and that one right there in the end, you are going to do a single crochet, and that is row 1. So let's have a good look at how that is. We're going to fill in those holes right now. So this is row 1 of a 2-row repeat. We're going to chain 1. That's just to help us turn. Double crochet, or you could do a stack single. I'll show that later in a tutorial. And then, so all that does is, that is kind of our anchor point. So remember that one we made at the beginning, that's all that is. That's just to keep it from curling or walking in the middle. Now, we skip 3, remember? So in the middle, we are going to put 4 double crochets. So 1, 2, 3. That first one counted as 4. Don't do anything. Yarn over and jump right over to that next one. 1, 2, 3, 4. And you're just going to keep repeating that. See, it's got a tiny little space there that was created because we jumped over that single. And that's what it's going to look like. So we're going to keep going. I'll do one more with you. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, my friends, you keep going with that. I'll meet you back at the end. We are back at the end. I've done the 1. Now remember, we're going to put 3 in this one and 1 on the end. 2, 3, and then that one, just find the end right there and put your double in. All right, so we just made the first 2 repeat rows, and you can kind of see how beautiful that's going to be. See how it lays nice and flat. You could also do a single crochet foundation chain if you don't like doing them in the back bumps. We can also put some edging on that as well, but look how cute that is. That's a pretty stark transition. It's hard to see the transition. There we go. It's easier to see, but it's kind of a plum color. And then the transition is just these other speckles with purples, pinks, greens, and whites. So this is all we do. We just keep going and we make this as long as we want. I was shooting for somewhere between 70 and 75 inches. Chain 3, 1, 2, 3, skip 3, 1, 1, 2, 3, and the fourth one, single crochet. I was going to see how long I could get it. We'll see. 1, 2, 3, 4. I might not get it that long, but I think it will be long enough. But we'll see. I might surprise myself. 1, 2, 3, 4. Uh-oh. 2, 3. So these are supposed to stack on top of each other. So we're going to just kind of see if I messed up, because those don't stack on top of each other. See that? That one should be more like right there. So we'll see when I come here to the end. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yep. So this is what happens. I'm going to start over. Be right back. All right, bear with me, guys. This is a brand new pattern. It's super easy, but it's kind of new. I think now, have I done this once before? I might have done this once before in a solid color. Okay, so I just took it all out, or frogged it, as we say in the industry. And I am going to, I did that chain 1. So I forget that chain 1 counts. That chain 1 is my single crochet, and that's what I did wrong. I used up that extra stitch. So 1, 2, 3. All right, and then we go in 1, 2, 3, 4. See how that lines up better? See, the single is on top of the other single. Actually, you know what? That other single is down there. One, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Skip 1. 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 2, 3. We're good. Okay, sometimes you just have to talk it out. 3, and there we are, 1, 2, 3, and the end one right there. The end, see, the end one can kind of get a little weird sometimes. Just do your best, it doesn't matter. It truly doesn't, because see, it's all gonna end up fine. My dogs. That is life with a big dog. All right, so let's do one more, and then I'm gonna turn you loose. Chain 1 to make this as big as you want. I will pop in periodically to see how everyone is doing. So remember this one on the end to anchor it. Oops. So what happened is I only got one of those. Double loops. Sometimes that happens. There we go. And then into that chain 3 opening, you got it. 3 double crochets. Keep going all the way to the end. I'll meet you there. Alrighty, I have that final row. And at the end of this one, this is technically row 4 because we have our foundation single crochets. That's technically the first row, but the first row of the repeat, 1, 2, 3, 4. So I have a good start, and you can see that here that color transition is starting. I do not have a studio, you guys. I have my spare bedroom / office, so bear with me. This is the natural light from my window, and it is magically going bye-bye. So I am going to work on this, and I will meet up with you guys again in a bit. My project will be much longer. Hopefully yours will be much longer, and we'll see how our progress is going. Make it as long as you want. I'm just going to leave it here, and all you're going to do, you can use your tape measure, you can use your handy dandy, I got this at in some swag at work, one of my old jobs. It was mismade. I never worked for Snap Diagnostics, and so they were just giving them free. They made like 1,000 of them, and so they were just like giving these out in swag bags for random people in the community. It was interesting. Anyway, it's perfect. Little retractable. That little red button is retractable, and this is perfect. This goes in my project bag when I take it on the go. This, my hook. I have that little Tupperware kit I showed you that I keep everything in there. So this is not necessary, but it does help you if you want to know your length, or if you want to just wrap it around your neck and say, oh, that's long enough for me. Do I want it just draped around my neck? Do I want it in a knot? Do I want it double draped around my neck? However you guys want it. You could even close it up and make it into an infinity scarf. The sky is the limit on this. I'm getting you started on the stitch. You make the project yours. I'm making a long scarf that is not going to be an infinity scarf, but if you want to make an infinity scarf, you make an infinity scarf. If you want to make it twice as long as mine and make it more into like a cowl, absolutely. This is not something that I want you to get pigeonholed into thinking that you have to do it my way or the highway. Not at all. You make this your own. I will show you what mine looks like in a bit. Hey, just checking in. So this is about 8 inches. Isn't that cute? The way that it's kind of worked up. I took my camera off the tripod because it's also my phone, so bear with me if it's too shaky. Look at that. Super easy. And it's so soft. I wish you could feel it. I'm excited about it, but look outside. We have the Western Idaho Fair going on right now. Oh, did you see that? And we've had about 600 lightning strikes in the last 20 or 30 minutes. So, yeah, there's the thunder. I know this isn't exactly part of the crochet video, but we are getting a rare August storm. They say it's the remnants of Hurricane Hillary. Or Tropical Storm Hillary. So anyway, I am just working along. I wanted to check in, let everybody know how fast that worked out. This is probably, oh yeah. 20 minutes. 8 inches in 20 minutes. So it did get dark in here. Took my camera off the tripod, so I'm gonna go ahead and just check in quick and come back later. Barefoot Ginger back again. How is everybody doing? This is the progress I've made. I have finished that half skein, and I haven't started on the new one yet because I wanted to check in with everyone and see. So let's measure this. And I'm probably going to put a stitch marker in this so I don't have to measure it a bunch of times. And it's too long to see on camera. But, see, it's pretty long. So let's measure this. Lay it out flat. I'm hoping that, and you can see that there are a few little, you know, because it's homemade and it's imperfect and beautiful. Anyway, I'm hoping that I have enough left that I can do a beanie with it. Okay. So this is 32 inches. So this is about halfway there. So let me get a stitch marker. These are the stitch markers I have. They make a bunch of different designs. You just get what works for you. There is no right or wrong for stitch markers. The only thing you want to make sure is that it does create some sort of secure system. They have ones that look like diaper pins from the 80s. They have these. They have fancy ones that you can buy on Etsy. It doesn't matter. So I'm just putting that right there, and that signifies 32 inches. So now I've already measured this. Going forward, I am just going to measure the following, the stuff that I crochet. So pardon my scratchy voice. I slept in late this morning. I am currently working on a fitness routine, and I'm gonna be honest, it's hard for me to walk this morning, so I'm kind of getting a late start and very slow moving today. You know what they say, fitness is rough, especially when you haven't taken care of yourself for a while. So this is a journey, quite literally, of 1,000 steps. And I have neglected it way too long. So I am trying to find, I like the center pole, so this makes it so much easier to work with. The yarn doesn't do a flippy floppy, so that's what I'm trying to find right now. And usually it gives you without pulling. See, I don't want to pull that out. I don't want to do yarn barf. Some yarns, I'm going to just do it because I don't want to. Yeah, this was a mess. I didn't want to do that. Look at all that I ended up having to pull out. Some yarns will make it really easy to find the center pull string. So I'm going to unwind this. I'll be right back. Do you want to see the process on what I do? Because see, there's a whole pile. So I'll just show you what I do. Usually it's not this much. Usually it's just a couple yards. But for whatever reason, this one decided to be difficult. And I don't remember if this is how it was. See, it's just a whole big thing. It's just, you know. So then basically what I'm going to do is, there's the end. But the rest of it, if I just leave it right there, it probably would be fine. But that big pile of yarn that is kind of loose right here, I want to secure it so it doesn't create a problem. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to make a ball because that's okay. So I have that all wound up and ready to go. So let's tie on together. That ball's going to be a problem. I might put it in a Ziploc bag because I don't like it jumping and bumping around. Okay, remember from my last video how I said there were a couple different ways to do this? You find your jam. I did want to talk a little bit about the color change. See how we're going from the dark to the light. So it's not going to finish this row. And you can see in our patterns that when kind of the plum color turns into this pink and white variegated into the green, and then it goes back to variegated and then back to this lavender color. Well, this is not technically self-striping yarn. I don't know if this is a combination of variegated / self-striping, but I'm okay with it, but I just kind of wanted to make this a little moment to just kind of keep you mindful that it's going to change, because you see it's the same each time. It's plum, variegated, green, plum, little variegated, plum, variegated, green, lavender, plum, variegated, green, lavender, plum, and it would have been variegated, green, and so on and so on. But because we have a new ball with a new color, that's going to completely change. So if you are the kind of person that has to keep the pattern the same, what I would do is I would pull all the yarn, do what we call a little color control, and find the rest of the purple and start there. That means that the color sequence will be the same. I don't care. I'm just going to crochet, because part of the quirkiness of this yarn and this whole project, that it's super spontaneous, super impromptu, and just organic. It just comes out the way it comes out through the natural progression of the product. There's no right or wrong way. It's just simply your preference, right? So I don't know if I have enough of the plum to finish. Let's see. Okay, so we're coming to the end of the plum. We have one more cluster, and we have that. Sorry, it's real around here. My husband didn't know I was recording and came to talk to me. It's called keeping it real. Okay, so we need to deal with that knot right there where we tied on. Whether you use the Russian join or the magic knot or whatever, but we've got those tails. So my only goal with that is to just make that knot itself less visible, which is why I hate doing knots. My only exception to that rule is wearables, because you don't, when you weave in the ends on like a blanket or something else, you it doesn't get a lot of wear and tear. But items that I call wearables, the ones, scarves, hats, shirts, sweaters, the ones that get put in the washing machine on a regular basis, you don't want to risk those weaved in ends to kind of wiggle themselves loose. So there we have it. So there we have joined on the new color. And I don't hate it. I mean, we've got the purple, the plum, and then back to the purple, the lavender. So I am going to work up a couple rows. That is, yeah. And then you will have a couple ends to just kind of weave in, but they're hanging out the back. So there we go. You keep going. I'm going to keep going. We'll meet back up in a little while and see how long we get our scarf. Remember, it's up to you. how long you want it. I'm shooting for 70 inches. We'll see how much yarn I have, and I have a decision to make if I only want a scarf or a scarf and a beanie. Like I said at the beginning, I think this was clearance. I don't think they make it anymore. I am going to take this yarn band and look it up and see if they make another one. So, all right. Happy crocheting. Barefoot Ginger. Signing off. For now, we'll be back. Okay, so here's my scarf. You can see that it's not going to fit. It is really long, and I haven't cut it yet. Here's what I have left of that skein. So, it is really long. You can see it's going to start bunching up. It's pretty long. I'm going to measure it in a minute. My tape only goes to 54 inches. So, we're going to finish up this together, and we're going to make a decision about this end. This is our starting row. We're going to make a decision about that, but let's get the tape going. So I'm going to just go all the way to the end, and it goes to 54, and then once it goes to 54, actually it doesn't go to 54, it goes to 60. Okay, so there's 60, and then I start over. So that is 71. I think I'm going to stop there. I wanted between 70 and 72, and that is 71. So, what do you think? Isn't that a pretty scarf? It turned out really well. So, I ended on the solid row, and so I'm going to leave it there. But I have some thoughts. Okay, so I found these beads, and I used these beads quite a bit when I was doing loom knitting, and I still will do loom knitting. That beanie you saw, I used to make loom beanies for the domestic shelter here, the domestic violence shelter for kids who have to show up at a shelter with nothing because it does get cold here. So I saw these at the bottom, and I thought, how perfect is it with those colors? What if I were to take, see, we've got some silvers. There we are. See, we've got some silver, and we've got some pinks. I'm not sure I'm a fan of the pink. See the pink. So we've got this, and then we've got these. And then we've got kind of a, oh, that's purple. We've kind of got this green that may or may not match. Anyway, I saw this bag of beads, and I thought, what if I were to do something with those beads to finish off this scarf? So, I'm not sure yet. I might just leave it so I can take this off. That was my marker. So I'm done crocheting this. So let's talk about how to finish it. I personally like all of my edges to look the same. So when you look at our starting edge, that was just, remember, a chain of 20 and then a row of single crochet that got us started. That's how that looks, right? And then we come down here to the other edge, the last row, and I'm going to snip that and tie it off. And all you need to do is, when you snip it, just kind of pull it through and then pull it tight. So this is all I have left. So the answer is no. I don't have enough for a beanie. Now, I'll tell you a story. I did find some of this. This is clearanced out. Premier no longer makes this everyday anti-pilling line of yarn. It's the Deborah Norville collection, I think it was. Anyway, they don't make it anymore. So I was out of luck with the Premier website, but I did find it on somebody's random, was it eBay or Etsy? I don't remember, for like $9 for one skein. So I have a couple choices. I have a decision to make. I can toss this in a zip top baggie, and I can take it with me to my local hobby store, and I can try to match these colors. I might even have a pink or a purple in there that matches, and I probably do. And I can do some color control and make a beanie. I just need to make sure that it's the same weight. If it's the same weight, then I'm good with that. And that's probably what I'll do. I don't think I have any of this dark green, but I think I have some purple, and I know I have some white, and I know I have some pink. So, oh, the joys of filming at home. Okay, so I think I can do that. So we're gonna table that for a minute until I decide. I think a beanie would look really cute, a scarf and a beanie. Giving somebody a scarf is pretty, but I just want to make it really dynamic. So here's what I was thinking. So this end here does not look or feel complete because they don't look the same. See? So I guess before I cut that off, I could have just done a row of single crochet. I could do a row in plum. I'd have to pull a bunch out because I'm not near plum. It looks like my variegated. Oh, am I near plum? How close am I to plum? I'm pretty close to plum. I could do that. That would be the easiest to do. Let's do that. Let's do it. So I pulled just a little bit off, and I might save that for the beanie, so I don't want it to get tangled. So I'm gonna put that there, and then, okay, so here, let's do it real quick. Let's do this together. And then I am gonna make this one super short today because it's hot in here. So all I'm gonna do is just a really quick row. So this is the last one. So I just put a slip knot on my hook, and I am going to just pull it through right here. Just pull it through, and then do a slip knot, chain one. And all that does is that basically acts like a single crochet. And then I'm going to put another single crochet in here. And I'm just going to do this all the way across. And then the scarf will be done. I am going to make some decisions about the beanie. And I might practice a little bit and see, oops. See what happens when I talk and crochet at the same time. Play with my yarn a little bit. See what colors I have. I might do the hat on my loom. Oh, I could do a tutorial with my hat on the loom. It's not a knitting machine. It's a loom. So maybe I'll do that. It's pretty easy, especially when I just do these single yarn beanies. I just have to hold two strands together, so it will look a little bit different, especially with how the beanie looks from the scarf. The colors will still be the same. It'll just be different. It won't be this very consistent striping. So, and then when I come back, we are going to work on the beanie. So here is my first finished tutorial. Go me. I'm going to cut that, wrap it around the hook, and pull it through. Oh, so let's talk about weaving in these ends. Okay, so here's my handy dandy yarn needle. Super easy way to do this. Take your tail, fold it in half. Well, not half, just bend it. Then you're going to take the bendy part and you're just going to stuff it through the eye. Wham bang. I did not learn this until very recently. In my whole life, I have struggled with threading that. The yarn splits, you get frustrated, bad words are said. Let's just avoid all of that. So, when you're doing this, especially when it's such a contrasting color, I am going to keep my tail from this plum color kind of inside each other. So I don't want to go into that light lavender color. I just want to, and the ends are actually secure, so I'm just weaving it back and forth a couple times. It's normally the rule of 3. So I'm calling that one. It took me a couple passes, but and then you just start in a different spot so you don't unravel it. 2, bury it nice and good. You can poke it off to the other side. I like to do that so it's not bulky all on one side. Then kind of weave that through the other side. There you go. And then cut that off. I'm going to do that with all of my tails, and I will meet you back at the end. Alright, so I finished weaving everything in, and it looks really good. The other thing you could do is you could block this, but I'm not going to. There is our finished product. It is very, very long. So I am going to kind of fold it in on itself a little bit. I'll do some pretty shots at the end. Kind of let it kind of organically do its thing. But there's my scarf. It is muted and vibrant all at the same time, and I hope she appreciates it. All right, that's it for this tutorial. Drop a comment down below and let me know what you think of this scarf, and there will be a beanie soon to follow. And until then, stay creative. Crochet is a journey. This doesn't come with a pattern, it's just a stitch, and you can do what you want with it. Remember, it's just a 4-row, a multiple of 4, so you can make it as big as you want. You can make it a blanket, you can make it a bigger scarf, you can make it into a shoulder, a shawl, or a lap blanket, a baby blanket, all sorts of things. The sky is the limit. And this, pick something soft. Pick a soft, squishy yarn if you're going to make this a wearable, or something that touches your skin, which is usually what crochet projects are. I mean, they're amigurumis, but most of the time it's something soft. So, all right, I'm going to stop fussing, and I sure had fun making this. I hope you had fun coming along with me on this journey, and I'll catch you on the next one. Barefoot Ginger signing off.